I just wanted to mention that we are recording today's session, and the link will be made available both for you if you would like to review some of the information that's presented today, but also if you have friends that were not able to come to today's session, this is a great opportunity for them to be able to catch up on not only the information, but also some of the questions that were asked, and get some answers to questions that they may have about study abroad. So I'm the director of the Berkeley Language Center, and the Berkeley Language Center is a unit on campus that supports the teaching of languages and cultures on the Berkeley campus and well beyond. And we're really happy today to have a focus on study abroad and international internship opportunities for students. I was a study center director with UCEAP way back in 2002 to 2004 in Lyon and Grenoble in France. And this was really an amazing experience for me as a faculty member, but it was amazing to watch the transformation of undergraduate students as they developed not only their language ability, but their cultural sensitivity and their new perspective on subjects that they were studying at UC, but now had new perspectives approaching those disciplines in an international context. So I can't emphasize enough the significance of international study in whatever program, whatever academic discipline you are majoring in. I'll make a plug. These days, these days, the most popular programs are the short-term summer programs, which are great. This is an excellent way to get introduced to a new culture, have opportunities for travel as well as learning. But don't forget the longer term immersion programs. So often, we had in Lyon and Grenoble, we had one semester programs and we had year-long programs. And so many of the students that went for the one semester program, which they considered to be a long time, at the end of their semester, they said, "Oh, I'm just getting used to it. I'm just feeling like I'm fitting in, and now I have to leave. I wish I would have signed up for the year-long program." So even though this does take a year abroad, this is not taking a year away from your academic program, because you definitely get academic credit and you will often get credit towards your major for coursework that you take abroad. So I will leave it at that for my plug for longer term immersion programs, and introduce Jeroen de Wolf, who will introduce the panelists for today. So Jeroen is director of the Institute of European Studies, but most significantly for today's purpose, he is the faculty academic director of Berkeley Programs for Study Abroad. So I will hand things over to Jeroen.
Thank you, Rick. So indeed, my name is Jeroen de Wolf. I'm the current faculty director for Study Abroad, and I would like to thank the colleagues from the BLC for organizing this important event and for making this connection, right, between language learning and studying abroad. Also, because I myself, besides being director of the Institute of European Studies and the faculty director for Study Abroad, I am also the director of Berkeley's Dutch Studies program. So learning a foreign language is really essential also to my work as a faculty member. And speaking for myself, I can say that studying abroad was definitely a life-changing experience for me. Not at least because it allowed me to become fluent in a new foreign language. In my case, that foreign language was Portuguese, a language that definitely opened an entire new world for me, thanks to this study abroad experience. So as faculty academic director for Study Abroad, it's a pleasure to work with my wonderful colleagues from Berkeley's Study Abroad office. And several of them are present here. So allow me then to introduce my colleague Darren Menloff, the Vice Dean for Summer Sessions and Study Abroad. Welcome, Darren. We also have with us Brianne Cheng, who's the Global Internships Program Coordinator, and Alex Tan, the Summer Abroad Program Coordinator. And we also have with us Barbara Tassiali, who's the Assistant Director of Advising at the Study Abroad office. And I will pass on the word actually to my colleague Barbara, because Barbara will say a few words about the student participants at today's event, right, Barbara?
Yes, thank you, Jeroen. It's wonderful to be here. Hello, everyone. Yes, and we are so fortunate. We have some students who have been there and done that, and they're going to be joining us after the formal presentation piece. But we have with us Milan Filo, also Jasmine Aguilar Rangel, Kate Larson, and also joining us a little bit later will be Ramil Mercado, and they're going to tell you a little bit about their experience. So I'm going to now pass this back to our director, Darren Menloff, and he's going to start us off. Okay, hi everybody again. This is Barbara. It looks like Darren hasn't joined us yet, so he may be joining us shortly. So I think I'm just going to tag team it and jump in and say a few words that Darren might otherwise have said. So one more call out. Darren, have you arrived yet? If not, I'll go ahead and talk for you. So let's see. Darren wanted to provide us with a little overview, really, of the state of study abroad right now. And I'm just going to read, what he would otherwise have been saying to you. So we wish to thank you for your interest and your enthusiasm for the future of study abroad. We hope that you will find our message today to be one of optimistic support in this challenging time. And we'd like to briefly share where we and our students have been since the start of the global pandemic and the steps that we are taking today to plan for future programs. So most importantly, we wanted to spend our limited time with you today sharing what you can do to make study abroad a part of Berkeley students' futures. So if you remember back in January and February of 2020, while the rest of the world didn't necessarily see the emergence of COVID in Wuhan as a global issue, the field of study abroad around the United States and also around the globe really mobilized. And at Berkeley specifically, we had over 400 students who were studying in programs worldwide. And approximately 1,500 students were planning on studying abroad for summer of 2020 at that point. So as we monitor what was evolving in China, we opened communication lines with our study abroad providers and partners. We obtained expert medical advice, planned for international evacuation procedures, and determined how to support our students physically, mentally, academically, and emotionally on their return to the United States. We also provided campus leadership with regular updates and suggestions on how the campus community might best support our impacted students. So all told, we collectively brought home hundreds of Berkeley students from around the world between late January and early April of 2020. We assisted and advised hundreds more students whose summer or fall programs were suspended. And as you're well aware, many of those students chose their programs with careful advanced planning to advance their major or the breadth requirements. And it was just heartbreaking to see their disappointment as they adjusted to this loss, in addition to the other losses that students experienced during that time. So now we find ourselves with many months into this new reality of COVID, where the future course of the pandemic is still unclear. We and our students have had to live with this uncertainty for a prolonged period of time. And one thing that our office has prioritized in our planning is to offer students as much certainty as we can, where we can. To that end, in today's presentation, you'll hear about the the virtual global learning options that we have developed so that students have the opportunity for international site-specific global learning in virtual cohort communities, regardless of whether or not travel is still restricted at that point in time when they are intending to study abroad. So, of course, the virtual programs will never replace the experience of traveling and living in a location and culture far from home. But it is our hope that these opportunities create gateways for students to travel for future study abroad experiences, while also helping students acquire greater intercultural competencies and broadened global perspectives. So in addition to offering virtual study abroad experiences, we have 81 students currently abroad on UC-EAP Fall 2021 programs, and we have 16 who are on academic year programs in 17 countries worldwide. We are preparing more than 450 students for UC-EAP Spring 2022 semester programs that are scheduled to begin in January. And we're continuing to advise students as they make their plans to travel for future study abroad to help them identify the programs, locations that best meet their interests and work with their academic planning. So Berkeley Study Abroad is going to continue to weigh decisions regarding study abroad programs operations based upon the following criteria. First, students' health and well-being. Second, the status of COVID in other countries where we're offering programs. Third, students' abilities to gain visa and travel access to their countries. 4, rising costs and limited availability of air travel. 5, new insurance regulations. 6, the ability of our program partners in country to support our students and to provide medical and evacuation assistance should that become necessary. And 7, the impact of timelines for our campus operations on the planning process, things like enrollment periods and housing contracts. So now, for an overview of our exciting program options. Berkeley Study Abroad offers a lot for Cal students to choose from. All in all, we offer over 150 programs in around 50 countries. This includes summer, semester, and year-long programs. In-person and virtual programs. The exact number of programs and countries offered changes from cycle to cycle. So this is approximately what's on offer for 21-22 right now. The earliest that Cal students can study abroad is summer after their freshman year. And the latest a student can study abroad is the summer after their May graduation ceremonies. Students can pretty much study abroad anytime in between. And in fact, it's also possible to study abroad multiple times and stay on track for graduation, as long as the student is in close communication with their academic advisors and they plan carefully. Advanced planning is strongly encouraged, but we're happy to help students however and whenever they come to us. Some students would like an extra term to be able to study abroad, and we leave that up to the college to consider and approve. Okay, so the following is what's available to Berkeley students. We have the UC Education Abroad program, also known as UC-EAP. This is the UC system-wide study abroad program provider for all UC students with summer, semester, and year-long programs. In addition to UC-EAP, our office offers our own homegrown summer abroad programs. Those programs are called Berkeley Summer Abroad and Berkeley Global Internships. Just like we offer our own homegrown summer abroad programs, some other UC campuses do as well. And those summer abroad programs are available to Berkeley students. And finally, if a student doesn't find what they're looking for in all these options, they are welcome to look outside of UC-EAP and the UC system, and we refer to those programs as independent study abroad programs. We'll now take a few minutes to review each program in more detail, and we're going to begin by highlighting UC Berkeley's very own language programs.
All right, thank you for that, Barbara. So as Barbara mentioned, we have two main homegrown program options available at UC Berkeley. The first is global internships as an opportunity for students to gain global work experience, and summer abroad, which is summer programs with an engaged international focus led by UC Berkeley faculty. So to go into more depth on the UC Berkeley Global Internship Program, this program consists of an 8 to 10 week project-based internship in the location of your choice. In addition, you will be enrolled in 6 units of coursework. I apologize, I just noticed a typo on the slide. The coursework is a combination of both online and in-person coursework. So for your online coursework, you will have a choice of 2 courses, either a Haas undergraduate course, Leadership, Purpose, Authority, and Empowerment, or an undergraduate interdisciplinary studies course, Global Citizenship. These are offered online and are core courses that all global internship participants will participate in. And it provides a framework and theories to really unpack and draw meaning from your internship experience. The courses will dive into concepts and theories of leadership, and we'll be able to use your internship and research site as a case study for learning. Many of your course assignments and discussions as well will center around your internship placement, allowing you to draw meaning and analyze them within specific cultural contexts. In addition, you will be taking one in-person course. This is a local culture course. This is still to be determined, but this course is designed to provide you cultural and historical context for your time abroad. And this course is often comprised of field trips to local museums and events around the city, so that you can really get out and explore in an experiential way. Keep in mind that simply by participating in a global internships program abroad, you will be able to satisfy your international LNS breadth requirement. But the domestic locations, unfortunately, do not satisfy this requirement. Now, a silver lining of the pandemic, as Barbara mentioned, is that we also have virtual and remote programs available. So if you are unable to travel and you still want to get that global internship experience in, you can participate in our remote program. This allows for synchronous engagement with your team and employers, and also has opportunities for networking, professional development, and virtual socials and events, such as the one pictured here, which is from our Sydney Global Internships Program, where all students were sent an Aussie food pack, and they got to taste things like Tim Tams and Vegemite. There was a food competition amongst students. But this program, in addition to the remote project-based internship, will require you to enroll in one online course. Again, those options are the Haas course or the UGIS course. And the great benefit is that you can participate from anywhere in the world. No visa, no passport is required, and it is very much accessible to all students. So honestly, I think the biggest and toughest question you will have is, where in the world do you want to work if you want to participate in a global internships program? This is a list of some of the confirmed locations for our summer 2022 programs, both the in-person and virtual options. But to highlight a couple of the language-based global internships here in our time together, these locations are ones to highlight: our Madrid, Spain program or our Paris, France program. This program is open to any major, any year, any industry sector. And there are several examples of placements ranging from the professional sector to startups, mid-sized companies, NGOs. And the benefit of these placements is that often interns are asked to wear many hats and are able to stretch themselves professionally as a result. The Madrid and Paris programs in particular will be offered for summer 2022. And although not required, it's strongly recommend that applicants that apply to these 2 programs have completed at least 4 semesters of Spanish or French language, respectively. This is because many of the placements will either be in Spanish or French, and it's an incredible opportunity for you to sharpen your language skills while also gaining practical work experience. We do recommend that you check out our website for popular sectors by location. Our program details are currently being finalized, but our website will be updated by the early November timeframe. So please do check back for updates there. And next, I'll pass it along to my colleague, Alex Tan, for an overview of summer abroad.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alex Tan, and I'm the program coordinator for the Berkeley Summer Abroad program. And excited to talk to you today a little bit about what Summer Abroad is. So Summer Abroad are travel study programs that have an international focus. They're courses that are listed as Berkeley courses, and they're led by Berkeley faculty. So you're actually earning Berkeley credits abroad. And there's a variety of different classes, topics, departments, types of study opportunities that you can have. And these courses are open to all majors. So you don't necessarily have to be for example, a history major to take one of the history courses, and they're actually open to students of all UC campuses. So if you do have friends that might be interested at other campuses and want to go on a program with you, definitely let them know. And it's also open to visiting students as well. And like Brianne had mentioned about global internships, the program automatically will fulfill the international studies breadth requirement. And then also some of the courses fulfill other breadths as well for LNS, and also major and minor requirements as well. And financial aid does travel with you for all of the programs for Summer Abroad, Global Internships, and UCEAP. And so next slide. And so this is a list of the programs that we're offering that are in planning for summer 2022. Right now, we're planning for all of these programs to be in person. And so I'm going to highlight the language programs, but you'll see there today, but you'll see that there are some programs with other focuses as well, including some programs with social justice focus, math and sciences, and also entrepreneurship and business. But we're going to focus in today on the language programs, particularly Madrid, Paris, and then also some of the programs that might come back in summer that are being planned to come back in summer 2023. So next slide. So one example of an amazing language program that we have through Summer Abroad is the Summer Abroad Madrid program, which focuses in on Spanish language and culture. So you can see here that the courses that you can take through this program are start at the Spanish 3 level, then go to Spanish 4. And then if you have satisfied Spanish 25, if you've already taken that course, you can then move into the upper division track. And so this is a Spanish intensive for multiple levels. And the program is really wonderful. It's in central Madrid. And there are excursions around the city as well as to other sites like Segovia and Toledo, which was a World Heritage Site. And then a quote from one of the student evals from the last time the course ran said that I loved the structure of the courses, how almost every other day we had excursions and we could live what we were learning in the streets. So this course is really well liked, and it's a really wonderful and engaging program. And if you're interested in really having an intensive around Spanish language, this could be a really great option for you. And another course that's going to be on offer for 2022 is on the next slide, which is the Paris program. So this focuses in on French language, culture and society. And one of the great things about this program is that it's also starts from French 1. So you can even take this program if you have no prior French experience. So it goes all the way from French 1 up to intermediate and advanced level conversation. So some highlights about this course is that it is a language intensive as well. A lot of the classroom activities are being designed to happen outdoors. So either in outdoor bistros around town. And one of the cool things about this program too is that the professor built the curriculum so that students will really build an understanding of diversity in France. So understanding experience of Muslim communities, Black and African diasporic communities, and many different sectors of communities in Paris. And one of the quotes from a student eval from this program was, "The immersive quality of the program was extremely fulfilling. It encouraged me to learn and study more rigorously than I would have if I was learning French in America." So this program also is one that comes highly recommended and is going to be on offer for summer 2022. And then on the next slide, a bit of forecasting for 2023. If anybody is studying Italian language, that this is a program that would be of interest to you. So this has also from all levels, so from Italian 1 all the way up to Advanced Italian and Italian Conversation 1 and 2, paired with a culture course that focuses in on identity and migration in the Mediterranean. And for this program, some highlights include that you're paired with local language partners, you're in a local language school when you're in Trieste, and there's excursions around these beautiful and dynamic cities. So one of the quotes was, "Do it, you will not regret it. Trieste is now my favorite city in Italy, and living in Venice is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Also, the food is out of this world," and that's pretty much true on all of the programs, but especially in Venice and Trieste. So now we're going to move to the next slide, which talks a little bit about eligibility, the application. And so for summer abroad, the application opens in February and closes March 15th. For global internships, it's March 1st. And if you can click next, Brianne, on the, it'll show the eligibility. So the basic eligibility is a 2.0 GPA. And also, so if you are 1 year of coursework completed, so if you are a freshman, you can apply to take this course as the summer after your freshman year. And the other condition is that you have no active blocks. So if you have something that's popped up on your Cal Central as an active block and they're having trouble figuring out how to clear it, you can always reach out to us and we can help you navigate to see what's going on. And then just a quick snapshot on finances. Our programs basically will have a program fee and tuition. The program fees do vary by program. The summer abroad range is about $1,700 to $3,000. The global internships range is $1,200 to $4,000. Those program fees cover your cost of housing for the time you're in program, program activities, a lot of different things. And then there's also the tuition on top of that for the courses themselves. And then financial, one thing, as I had mentioned earlier, is that financial aid is available for all of these programs. So that is kind of our quick overview of our Berkeley homegrown programs. And I'm going to kick it now to Barbara, back to Barbara, to talk a little bit more about the UC EAP programs.
Thank you so much, Alex. Okay, so hi everybody again. I want to walk you through some of the things to know about the UC Education Abroad program. So that is the system-wide study abroad program, so UC Education Abroad program. It's open to UC students throughout the UC system, and there are summer, semester, and year-long programs. UCAP offers a diverse portfolio of program options for academic credit. For example, in addition to purely course-based programs, we offer programs that include internships, research, field work, and service learning options. We have language and culture programs. We have STEM-focused programs, lots to choose from. Regardless of which program a student chooses, every course that you take on your chosen UCAP program will automatically transfer back to Berkeley and post to your UC transcript. Grades factor into the UC GPA, units factor into the UC unit count. The courses will be listed on the Cal Central transcript. This is automatic. A word for those who may be graduating seniors or near to that, it does take time for the grades earned on UCAP to post on Cal Central. It takes about 90 days after the official program end date. And sometimes there are delays. Unfortunately, that grade processing cannot be expedited. Now, the question of whether an abroad course will fulfill a major, minor, or college requirement would be up to the college for college breadth requirements, up to the major for the major requirements, and up to the minor department for any minor requirements. So it still does hold true that by virtue of successfully completing a study abroad on UCEAP, completing the program, passing all the classes, a student will automatically fulfill the Letters in Science International Studies breadth requirement. For other breadth categories, we have an LNS, Rausser, and CED breadth pre-approval database where students can look up UCEAP courses to see what has been able to count toward breadth thus far. And this information can be found under the academics section of our website. It's under the college advising section of the academics. And as for eligibility for UCAP varies by program. Each program has a minimum GPA that can range from 2.0 to 3.3, with most programs would have a 2.85 range eligibility. Many of our programs do not have a language prerequisite, although some do. And the vast majority of our programs are open to all majors, although there are a few programs that require background coursework that have a special focus. Students can apply to UCAP programs through the Berkeley Study Abroad online application that can be found on our website. Applications are usually due a few months in advance. Applications for summer, fall, and year programs are due anywhere from early December to early February, depending on the program. Applications for spring programs are due in late April. We do extend deadlines sometimes. Not all of our deadlines can be extended, but we do formally extend when we can. And when possible, we are willing to consider late applications even beyond the published deadlines on a case-by-case basis. Selection varies by program. Most programs are able to accommodate all qualified applicants, and they're not competitive. Hence, students only need to submit one application for the chosen program. There are a very small number of programs with space constraints, and in those cases, selection may be first come, first served or competitive. But in most cases, our programs can accommodate all qualified applicants that submit a complete and thoughtful application by the deadline. So today, our theme is studying languages abroad, and we wanted to give you a sense of the range of UCEAP options and locations. So we have here a list indicating the country, language, program name, and the length of the program, whether it's a summer, a fall, a spring, or an academic year. And this list, and this is, by the way, that's just the first half of the list, includes intensive language programs. In other words, programs where you study exclusively language just prior to the start of an immersion program abroad. But also, it's a list that includes any program with a language component. So this is the A through H. I've let you have a look at what's listed there, all kinds of exciting stuff. And then if we can advance to the rest of the alphabet, you can see we've got, I think it's I through S is our next slide. And that's just a continuation of the listing of what you can do in language. There's I through S. So we've got Italian, Japanese, Korean, Portuguese, Spanish, Swedish, and my favorite category, other. So yes, NUS in Singapore does offer lots of languages. So 13 to be precise. Okay, but I did want to tell you a little bit about advising, which is the thing that we do in the Study Abroad office. So there is no doubt that this is an unprecedented, uncertain, and stressful time for students and families of students hoping to study abroad. And our advising staff is available to assist students, parents, advisors, whoever comes to us really, in navigating and connecting to the resources and the information that they need as quickly as possible. We have a COVID alerts page on our website, which we continue to update as information becomes available. And to access our services, our staff is working remotely, so our advising services right now are primarily virtual, but in-person appointments are also available upon request. And we recommend that all students seek advising first through checking out that website, because it has a wealth of tools and different details that you can use for updates, information, and then after you've had a chance to explore that, email us, with general questions, and we route the email inquiries to the appropriate advisor. So you can see a little image here of our virtual office and how do you reach us. Our peer advisors continue to offer all of our first touch advising, whether it's by email or by Zoom or in person, however. The peer advisors are paid student employees, and these are positions that are held by former study abroad participants, and they have been trained to advise all of the first-time visitors and to handle really most general and process-oriented questions related to choosing a program and applying for study abroad. And they are really great at providing that student-to-student perspective on studying abroad. And we're so fortunate to actually have some peers with us today. So once a student has met with a peer and has determined their programs of interest, they can then meet virtually with a program-specific advisor to ask more program-specific and case-specific questions by appointment. Our office also continues to offer financial aid counseling specific to study abroad. Students can email the financial aid advisors at travelaid@berkeley.edu with any questions that they have related to their financial aid eligibility for study abroad. But just to reiterate, financial aid is applicable for all of the UC EAP programs, and the awards are adjusted to the cost of living on the particular program that the student will be going on. Okay, now the big event is happening next week, and shout out to this fantastic website. It's called studyabroadweek.berkeley.edu. It's going to tell you everything you need to know. Study Abroad Week is this new development. We've taken our annual day-long in-person study abroad fair that used to be in Poly Ballroom back in the day, and we've made it into a week-long virtual experience in collaboration with other UC campuses and UC EAP. So Study Abroad Week is going to take place October 18th through 22nd. And we'll be offering over 50 sessions, including program information sessions, a session on how to choose, financing study abroad, as well as a number of sessions dedicated to providing insight into the student experience. And we'd like you to check out the Study Abroad Week website for the full schedule, with particular emphasis on the Wednesday of the week, because that is when you can take a look at what all of the other UCs are going to be offering in their summer abroad programs this coming summer too. So yeah, and I encourage everyone to attend Study Abroad Week. It's got something for everyone, and it's a really great event. So yeah, let's see. What did we want to say? We want to say, if you're interested in learning a bit more about independent study abroad, I thought I should mention to you that I'm kind of your contact for that. But you should have a look at our guide on the website for independent study abroad. And if you want to know more about it, I'm happy to take questions as they come. So moving right along, this is really the best part as far as I'm concerned. I would like to hand it over to some students who are going to tell you exactly how things went for them. So just to recap for those who may have joined us a little bit later, we have this afternoon Milan Filo, and he did the UC EAP Summer 2021 virtual internship. He's going to talk to us a little bit about incorporating a language component into his experiences. After Milan, we have someone who's currently on staff. Her name is Hasmin Rengel, and she actually did more than one program abroad. So she did the UC EAP Mexico summer program, the UCAP France semester, the spring program in 2020. Yes, that crazy semester, that was the one. And she also did the UCAP virtual internship program this past summer in 2021. Excuse me. After Hasmin, we have Kate Larson, who was a peer advisor with us before she graduated. And she actually did 2 semester-length programs. She did the Global Edge London Fall program and also the UC EAP Switzerland Geneva program in spring 2020. And then after Kate, we're going to be joined by another former peer advisor, Ramil Mercado, who has also graduated. And he studied in Argentina through UCAP, also in Singapore through UCAP, and he did a Berkeley Summer Abroad program in the Philippines. So it's quite a lineup, and I think I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to Milan.
Hello, thank you for having me and for inviting me to share my study abroad experience. I hope you can hear me well. So my name is Milan, and in this short presentation, I'll be talking about my CEA virtual internship experience and how I managed to get credit towards the French minor. So if you have any questions, please feel free to interrupt me or save your questions towards the end, and I'll be very happy to respond. So last summer, I completed an internship program that was offered by the Berkeley Study Abroad Office. That's quite different from the widely known Berkeley Global Internship Program. The French major and minor only accepts the Global Internship Program. And in the past, you could get credit no problem by completing this internship in Paris, France. So prior to last summer, I always knew I wanted to complete the French minor, but by undertaking an internship program in France, as I always wanted to live in a French-speaking environment, as well as improve my French and gain relevant work experience. So pre-COVID, my original plan was to complete the Berkeley Global Internship Program, but it was canceled due to the pandemic, and Paris wasn't an option at the time when I applied. So how did I find the CEA virtual internship program? Well, I perused the Berkeley Study Abroad website and I found this program, and I saw that one of the internship locations that they offered was Paris. And after doing some research, I concluded that the essence of this particular sort of independent internship program that was offered by a different study abroad office was very much similar to the Berkeley Global Internship Program, albeit in a virtual format. And so when you go on the virtual internship program website, the program description states that the program is in English, but it is possible to request placement in the host country's language. So when I applied to the program, I knew that I wanted to apply to a French-speaking internship, and I specifically mentioned this in my application, as well as in my interview. And then based on your preferences that you indicate on your application, such as the type of industry you'd like to work in, the internship placement coordinator will choose an internship that they think is right for you. And then you're matched with a company and you get to choose whether you would like to accept the internship offer or not. And so when I got accepted into the program, I immediately reached out to the French department regarding the possibility of having the internship count towards the French minor so that I could possibly then get departmental approval prior to the start of the internship. And so I sent in all of the relevant documentation, such as the program syllabus, as well as the Convention de Stage Étudiant, which is basically a legal document that both the company and the intern signed to agree on the internship placement. And I also had my internship placement coordinator reach out to the French department to confirm that my internship would be in French, because the department really needed to see that I was going to use a reasonable amount of French throughout the duration of the internship. And so I would say, I would definitely recommend that if you plan to submit a study abroad course or an internship to count towards your major or minor, always reach out to your advisor if approving a program is possible, especially because you're not given that much time during your four-year academic journey at Cal. It may seem like a lot, but sort of making sure that it fits in with your study schedule is important. And when determining whether the coursework taken through a study abroad program will be credited toward your major requirements, the department also looks for content that must respond to upper division level coursework and units as well. At least this was the case with the French department. So my internship actually was 6 units, and this translated to around 20 to 25 hours for a duration of 8 weeks. And it was also considered to be of upper division level, which ended up working for me. I was also lucky enough to participate in a program that had a seminar component. So all I had to do by the end of the internship was to, in order for the course to count towards the French minor, was to just write a daily journal in French where I wrote about my daily responsibilities and activities throughout the duration of the internship. And I also had to submit a paper that was completely written in French that addressed the learning objectives on the syllabus of the internship seminar. And so the program is split into 8 weeks. It ran from June to August. And in addition to the 20 to 25 weekly working hours, we had a seminar component. And this consisted of biweekly cultural sessions where we talked about cultural aspects related to France, as well as biweekly coaching calls where we talked about things like interviews, finding a job, as well as preparing relevant job application materials. And so just to summarize what I did during this internship, as I previously mentioned, my virtual internship placement was in Paris, France. And I worked with a startup called My Boutique Hotel. And My Boutique Hotel is similar to Booking.com in the sense that it is this online accommodation booking platform. Is really interesting to learn about when I was undertaking this internship, as I had no previous experience in this industry before. And during the 8 weeks, I enhanced the user experience of the website, among other design-related tasks, by sort of leveraging my design and technical skills. And I had to submit a couple of final deliverables, which also included designing a book about boutique hotels, which was quite interesting and new to me. So that's basically just a summary of what I did during the 8 weeks, but I was also asked to share what I learned during this internship. After having completed this internship, I feel like I definitely understand the local cultural norms as they relate to the professional workplace. Secondly, I definitely feel like I am now more competent when it comes to identifying the career that I want. And I've definitely become more competent when it comes to managing my own career trajectory. And finally, I'm definitely more interculturally fluent, with a better understanding of my own personal identity in relation to my place in our global society. So this marks the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can also send me a message through the chat privately if you would like to. But yeah, that is all. And thank you so much for having me.
So thank you so much, Milan. And I don't know if you wanted to share that amazing video you made, but for anybody who wants to ask Milan privately, maybe he could share it with you. But it was a terrific sort of final product, I guess, from your study abroad experience. Anyway, I enjoyed it a lot, so highly recommend it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Okay, I think we're probably going to move on. And maybe, Hasmeen, are you there? Sorry, my screen isn't very clear. I can't quite tell who's here and who's not.
Barbara, Yasmin asks you to go to the next person while she fixes her audio.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I think, Kate, would you be happy to talk now?
Absolutely. Hi, great to see you again, Barbara. Thank you so much for having me here. Wonderful to be back. My name is Kate. I was a global studies major at Cal. I just graduated in December 2020. I was also a peer advisor in the study abroad office for 3 years. So really wild to see the time fly by. But with the global studies major, there is a language component as part of that. And I did my regional focus for global studies in Europe and Russia. So I did French as my language of study. So I studied abroad twice, 2 different semester-long programs. I did the Global Edge program in London my freshman year, and then my junior year, I did the global studies at University of Geneva in Switzerland. In spring 2020 was a wild time to study abroad, but I was taking French courses while I was there. And I was able to count those French courses towards the French requirement for my major. So for global studies, you need 4 semesters of language. So I did the first 3 semesters on campus at Berkeley, and then I did the equivalent of French 4 in Geneva. And that was a bit of a challenge because when I came back to California, I was waking up at 3 a.m. to do advanced grammar courses on Switzerland time. So I wouldn't recommend that, but hopefully that won't be the case for anybody anymore. So for kind of challenges and pitfalls for studying language abroad, I would definitely emphasize recognizing the difference in academic structure. It is generally very different when you go abroad to another country. The way that they format their courses, it could be similar to the American system, especially if you're with a UC study abroad center or if you're with an American university abroad. And that was the case when I was in London. It was very similar academically to Berkeley. But when I was at the University of Geneva, all of my courses, 100% of the grade was the final exam. That was it. That was the only thing we were ever tested on. And so it really changed the way that we studied, the way that we interacted and engaged with the materials and the professors. And I had to get a lot better at carving out my own study time because I found I wasn't being forced to study, to do certain readings or to have certain assignments done. And so in order to really succeed in language, especially, I really needed to set aside that time. And I found people spend a lot more time in the library and set aside different blocks of their schedule to study because we also spent far fewer hours in the classroom. I probably spent about half the hours in the classroom in Switzerland that I did in Berkeley, just because the way that the academic calendar was set up was completely different. So I would definitely recommend you need to learn how to define your own study schedule and be willing to adapt. And that's a skill that you can build even while you're still on campus in Berkeley, figuring out how to have a study schedule that you can stick to in order to succeed academically. The next tip that I would have is you need to be willing to embrace different opportunities to use the language and to learn outside of the classroom. So even for beginning learners, you can join clubs, you can go to movies, and you can try to default to your target language. So I was really, really proud when I had people come up to me in public in Geneva and ask me in French for directions, and I found myself knowing the answer and being able to respond in French. And this happened once, it's happened a couple of times, but one time I finished giving these detailed answers. I was like, you go this way and you turn right and you turn left and it's the building and it's the second floor. I was giving all these detailed answers. And the woman who asked me these questions then said in a British accent in English, thank you. Oh, I could have had that entire conversation in English, but it was really nice to be able to default to French in that environment, to be comfortable doing that. And that's something that I really had to force myself to, and especially as somebody with an accent speaking my target language, sometimes people would hear my accent and immediately switch to English. And so I had to kind of say, no, I'd like to try speaking in French with you if you don't mind. And so making yourself uncomfortable and putting yourself in those positions where you can default to that target language really does wonders for your growth in your target language as well. And then a third point that I have is recognizing the social differences and the importance of engaging with your host culture for an immersive experience. This was definitely a temptation as I became friends with a bunch of Americans that were abroad for different reasons. And when I spent all my time around Americans, I wasn't really engaging with the host culture, with the host community. And that was a challenge that I had when I was in London. I found myself just surrounded by other Berkeley students all the time. And as a result, I became great friends with them, but I didn't engage in as much cultural exchange. So when I went to Switzerland, that was a really big priority for me, is I want to join clubs where there are Swiss people. I want to engage and make friends with Swiss people. And I want to be speaking French. I want to speak Swiss French. I want to figure it out. I want to learn. And I did still make some good friends that were American and Canadian and Australian who I would speak English with, but it was really important to me to be able to build into that international community because that was the main reason that I was there. And so I would definitely flag that. And that is really a big goal for language acquisition and being able to engage culturally as well as linguistically. And those are my 3 top tips. I'll keep it brief because I do know we have other panelists, but you can always reach out to me. I'm not sure if you can ask direct questions in the chat, but feel free to drop them. And I am, trying to be an engaged alum because I loved my time at Berkeley and I do miss it desperately. So you can always reach out to me, and everybody who works in the Berkeley Study Abroad office has my email and knows I'm easy to access. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Kate. And we miss you, and we're so glad that you're here today. So I think let's check in. Hasmin, how are you doing with your, is your audio back?
Yeah, I
Yay.
think it is.
Okay.
I had to switch to my phone, so I'm sorry if like the quality is not that great.
Oh, no, you're
But
good. You're good.
but yeah, it's working now.
Okay, fantastic. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So yeah, hi everyone. I'm a senior at UC Berkeley, and actually, I studied abroad in the University of Bordeaux in France. And I chose that one because I wanted to practice my language. I had taken like 1 year of French here at Berkeley before. So I took French 1 and French 2. So I thought it was a great experience or it was a great opportunity to kind of like practice what I had learned. And then I felt like, I felt like I was at the point where I kind of like had the basics, but I wanted to improve and to learn more about the culture when learning the language further. So that's why I decided to study abroad after a year of learning French. And I feel like that's one advice that I would recommend to students, like at least try to learn the basics of the language of your host country. So definitely try to know like the basics, so you can at least like introduce yourself or order in the foreign language whenever you're getting food or whenever you're going to a grocery store, or like Kate mentioned, if someone asks for directions, so you can at least say like a few words. So that's like one advice that I would give. Definitely like just try to learn like the basics at least. And I felt like that was something that was really helpful for me. Also just because like in France, it's kind of like a lot of like French people, either they don't speak English or they don't like speaking English. So I feel like it's kind of like it was kind of like hard for me to sometimes communicate with other people because they kind of like didn't want to speak English, and sometimes I didn't know what to say in French. But those were the opportunities that kind of like forced me to practice my French. So definitely, and also I would say if you have the opportunity to stay with the host family, I feel like that would also be a good option whenever you're trying to practice your language, or whenever you're trying to merge with the culture, because sometimes it's hard to like to kind of like connect with the locals, but with the host family, they are right there. So they are the ones who helped you. And my host family, they helped me a lot. They taught me a lot about the culture, about kind of like the customs that they have. And they would teach me like few words from now and then. And then they would practice. I would practice my French with them. And I felt way more comfortable practicing my French with them because they were people that I kind of like knew, and they would definitely correct me or help me with my pronunciation in French. So something that I highly agree with Kate is like you definitely need to embrace the opportunity. So whenever you have a chance to practice a language, definitely do it. And also, like Kate mentioned, a lot of like the UC, like a lot of the other UC students, they would stick within themselves, like within the group. I try to like I force myself to go out there and to join other clubs and to meet other people, other international people. So definitely do that. Try to go outside of your comfort zone, try to connect with the locals, try to like make other international friends as well. But yeah, also my experience, it was kind of like cut short because it was during the semester of the pandemic. So I was actually just there for like a few months. I got there in January, and then the whole confinement happened in March. So I wish I could have more experience to tell you guys more about it, about the academics and all of that, but I sadly don't have a lot to talk about on the terms of academics, just because everything went online and because the university didn't have the capacity of like transition to online right away. I felt like all my courses at the end of the day, they were just like a few essays, and that's it. Like my grade was based on a few essays or a few assignments that I had to do. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions, you guys can also like message private me. So yeah, I think that was my presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you, Hasmin. I think, whatever length of time we are abroad, it's impactful in ways that you only start to unpack, right? When you're done with your program. And so I don't know, that was a crazy semester, though. I will grant you that. So thank you, though, for sharing your insights. And I think let's go ahead and move on now. I think Ramil has arrived. Ramil, are you there?
Yes, hello, hello, hello.
Oh, yay, you're here. Great. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm gonna let you have the floor now.
Thank you so much for having me. And first of all, it's nice seeing you again and seeing Alex and seeing everybody here again. I missed y'all so much. But for everybody else here, hello, my name is Ramil Mercado. I graduated from UC Berkeley in fall 2019, and I majored in political science and Asian studies, and I minored in Southeast Asian studies. I was also a peer advisor at the Study Abroad office for 2 years. So it's really nice to see everybody again. And for myself, I did a couple programs. I did the Global Edge program in London, a global internship in Hong Kong, a summer abroad in the Philippines, a semester in Singapore, a semester in Argentina, and I did the critical language scholarship for the past 2 summers, which is what I'm going to primarily focus on today. And to just give a little bit of a background of the program, the CLS program is an exchange program funded by the Department of State that grants around 600 undergraduate and graduate students the opportunity to learn in languages that are deemed, how do I word this, critical need for the US government. So languages like Indonesian, Farsi, Punjabi, Chinese, Turkish, etc. So I had the privilege of doing the program in 2020 and 2021. I studied with Universitas Negeri Malang, which is our partner university in East Java. Of course, the program was a little bit different since it was virtual due to the pandemic, but I was still able to learn a lot of Indonesian. I jumped from a novice level to an advanced level in just 2 summers, and both of those programs lasted around 8 weeks each. So I highly recommend the program to anybody who wants to look into it, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. However, I wanted to give some insight on doing intensive programs and being surrounded in a new culture and language entirely. So first, I think that doing an intensive and immersive program is a rewarding experience. It's definitely not easy, but the payoffs that come from experiences like these are amazing. So for starters, you learn to trust in yourself a lot more. So in my experience, I made so many mistakes, and honestly, I still make mistakes when I speak Indonesian. However, after a while, and after many, many mistakes, you start to realize that what matters most in learning a foreign language is communicating your thoughts and being understood. And that's what a lot of folks here were explaining earlier. I feel like, and because of this, I began to focus less on sentence structure and more on communicating. And funnily enough, this caused me to be more fluent and make less mistakes because I wasn't so hyper-focused on every little detail. And this basically made me more of a confident speaker and taught me overall to focus more on the bigger picture with task at hand, which in this case is communication. So yeah, I touched on this a little bit, but during the program, I was able to increase my proficiency in Indonesian significantly. I learned skills such as how to interview others, how to give presentations, and most notably, how to communicate openly and clearly. And I think this is super important. For myself, I think one of the most nerve-wracking and exciting experiences that I kind of tested all these skills was not an exam or a homework assignment, but it was when I was chosen to be a master of ceremonies for the closing ceremony of the CLS program in 2020. Mind you, I have never been an MC in English, so the fact that I was doing it in Indonesian was wild to me, and I honestly thought I couldn't do it. However, because of the confidence that I was explaining earlier and the familiarity you gain with being exposed to the language constantly day in and day out, and honestly because the staff at UM is amazing and supportive, I was able to pull it off successfully. And this event personally marked the fact that I was proficient in the language. I think eureka moments like these are super rewarding and make tough programs like these completely worth all the blood, sweat, and tears. So I think that's, yeah, for these reasons, I think that going into an intensive program might be difficult. it is difficult, but it's completely worth it. And finally, I just wanted to talk about one of the best aspects about learning a new language, and that is how to express your life experiences and how to communicate with folks from your host culture using their lingo. So while learning things like grammar is definitely an important part of language learning, learning different aspects of language like idioms, proverbs, and slang opens up a whole new world of thinking. For example, the other day I learned a proverb which goes something like ada udang di balik batu, which literally means there's a shrimp behind a rock. However, this actually means that someone has ulterior motives. To me, that's, I would not even think that would equal that. So it gives insight into a culture, and I think that having culturally specific knowledge like this is really fun, and it's, yeah, a fun part of the language learning process, and it allows you to connect with others using lingo that they use every single day. And yeah, that's all I have to say for now, but if you have any further questions, feel free to contact me. Yeah, thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ramil. This is, I'm going to have to remember that proverb. Okay, well, I think what I'll do now is hand it over to Kimberly, and you can take us where we need to go next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kimberly. I'm the Executive Director of the Berkeley Language Center. And I, first of all, just want to thank all of our amazing panelists for the information that you provided today, as well as for your perspectives and insights on your experiences on study abroad. I'm also going to be thinking about that shrimp proverb. So thank you for sharing that. And we have some time to open the floor to any questions anybody might have, or any follow-up comments from any other of the other panelists, if there's anything else you wanted to add back in, or if we have any questions, or hopefully everyone's really excited about study abroad and thinking about the different options and possibilities for study abroad. Anything? All right. Well, we can close it out then with a big thank you again oh, and someone's coming in, to all of our panelists today. Thank you. And Darren, I'm not sure now that you're here and you weren't here before, if you want to do an official goodbye for us.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I apologize to everyone for having internet problems as we began, just 10 minutes before we began this presentation. I was looking forward to welcoming you all, but I'm just so pleased to see the participation here and all of the interest and everyone who came into the meeting today to learn more about the Berkeley Language Center and about studying abroad, and particularly about language acquisition overseas. And I'm so pleased to see our students again as well. So special thanks to them and their words of wisdom here to everyone and sharing their experiences. Special thanks to Barbara for taking over the piece that I meant to do today to open the presentation. But once again, thanks to everyone who is here for all of your interest. We are such strong believers in these fantastic experiences. So please come to our office, contact the advisors. And if you have an interest in study abroad, we're here to help you do it. So thank you all so much.
Thank you for that. And have a lovely afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today.
Just a quick reminder on our way out that a week from tomorrow, the BLC will be hosting a panel on the future of study abroad, taking into consideration what has happened during the pandemic with study abroad, and then thinking about what lessons we've learned from remote engagement and what we might take forward. But we're going to be gathering a set of panelists from around the country that are real experts through experience and through research on study abroad. So that is a program that we will be presenting next Friday from 3 to 5. And there's a flyer going around. We can probably put it in the chat here, but there's a link for registration. Maybe Victoria, if you've got the link handy, you could just put it in the chat there. It is going to be offered on Zoom, and it's going to be a really great group of panelists who have thought long and hard for many, many years about the significance of study abroad. So if you're interested in that, please join us next Friday at 3. Hope everyone has a great Thursday afternoon, and thanks so much for coming to join us today.